good morning. This is Pixie doing another video. Tell people where I'm going to go, even if it's dead. Yeah, I've had some thoughts about. I guess I'm wrong about MGTOW in that it's basically I'm a bachelor. That's what it is. I'm independent at the moment. I live on my own. I mix and mingle with anybody in society. I'm not sort of limited to anything I do, and I'm not particularly bitter. I've had some bad experiences, but they just serve as kind of learning curves maybe and stuff like that. But that's it really. I think MGTOW typically are people that haven't really dealt with their pain and started to justify living a lonely life really, I guess, if they start pushing things out. They can substitute, but there's always a part of them that's saying they should be in a relationship or they should be mixing and mingling or whatever. But if they've isolated themselves up from women because they think women are sort of dangerous, they have to ask themselves, are they dangerous to themselves? Because they've let themselves become so vulnerable. And they maybe just need to approach their relationship differently. I know it's hard because things may seem great if you get into a relationship and then suddenly people change, or they're always holding back on a part of the character, or maybe they're a complete psychopath. You know, you can't really really figure that out ahead of time. You can't ascertain if that's going to be true. I mean, you can look at some dynamics from their parents and so on, but it might be not obvious. And things don't work out. But so you need a kind of relationship where you can generate space and so on. You don't have to follow any particular traditional trends. Just do your homework. I think it is a case of being unprepared and thinking the world's like Walt Disney's universe or something, and it just backfired. That was it. And yeah, so bachelor. I've singledom sometimes I refer to it as just being single. What you're probably not looking for though is compromise. Like I wouldn't want to, concentrate on myself and then suddenly give up my life on the pursuit of love. I guess you'd want to find that balance. And I've got someone writing to me at the moment, and it's interesting because she doesn't it's either a very clever scam or she's just gone crazy. It's like what I like to call it love-gnosis or amanosis, maybe. It's like infatuated, but also the mind starts creating the relationship in the head before it's even happened at any physical level. So it depends on the person, yeah. There were certain things in the letter that were sort of, they could have been seen as red flags if people were avoiding love. Like, I believe everything you say, I think about you 24 hours a day, blah, 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 blah. So these kind of things sort of started turning up in the letters. Or other things I noticed when people repeat your name many, many times in a letter, that's usually an indicator of sort of like they're thinking a lot about you. So there's some unusual trend. Also kind of modulating their personality, so they might mirror things in your letter back and stuff like that. These are sort of coping mechanisms and other things. And it also shows that their awareness is high, because if you cut and paste letters you don't really pick out stuff like that. However, she's not really saying a lot about herself, she's just saying about how she feels, how her mind's gone into some sort of loved up mode. And also I played it quite cool and just told us, yes, yeah, I've got some feelings for you. However, it's basically for my own personal reasons, I'm not kind of in that area because I'd need to meet someone and spend some time with. So at some point at a later date I might do Pixie from Moscow or something do a video out there. That would be quite interesting actually. Do a little vlogs or whatever, just get it out there and inside Russia. So that'd be cool. Anything else? Right, OMAD, it's all good. I have put in sometimes a few 0 calorie drinks, so they say, with their sweetness. They're not that great. sometimes it's not a craving. It's just I fancy a bit more than drinking water. And I've just had things that was claimed to be 0 calorie that have got vitamins in, so these energy drinks, which are not ideal. It's more of me being a caffeine addict of some sort. Usually a good cup of tea though gets any sort of hunger thing that goes away. You could lose more weight, I also think, if you simplify your foods. So if you just ate loads of like potatoes, or only sort of 3 different types of food, you'd probably lose a lot more. Because often we complicate foods. However, you might have to deal with more craving. You might have some things like, oh, I fancy a chocolate bar, oh, I fancy a burger, I fancy eating this, I fancy eating that. So yeah. The other thing I found out was that some of these MGTOW people had some other issues with reality as well. That was the problem. Like somebody started going on about how America's not interested in the world, other rest of the world, because they're one of the most powerful in the world. Well, that kind of sounds like a big ignorant sort of statement. You should be reaching out to your brothers around the world and getting to know what's going on. It's because you've got less to complain about. If they blow up a country, you're going to say, well, what country is that then? You're not going to care because you don't know anything about it. That's the sad reality when you have a skewed view of the world. So it's one of the things about ignorance. You don't know how ignorant you are until something happens to you. It sort of wakes you up. And there was vegetarian beliefs as well, even threw in there, about what people miss about meat, and they said it's just the texture and flavour and stuff. It's going back corn and whatnot. It's not actually just have a craving to eat meat, and it's a biological imperative. If you've been raised on it and your body's adapted to it, it wants meat as well. It knows the value of it. That's what it is. There's things in meat you won't get anywhere else, like creatine. You won't get any of that in the vegetarian universe. So yeah. Anything else about OMAD? So yeah, you could probably lose a lot of weight with if you just singled your diet or reduced it and just had certain food types. That would create a massive weight loss, but it could be too fast. Depends how heavy you are. If you're really overweight and you say you're having one meal a day, or you're having a jacket of potatoes and maybe having a few fillers in there just to make it more interesting. But it's like it could be like chicken, sweet corn, or whatever you put in it. But people that have had just potatoes, they've lost a lot of weight. But they've been eating potatoes for 3 times a day meals, and they've lost a stone in a month. Somebody has it 1 meal a day. At that level, it might lose 2 stone in a month. It might be a massive weight loss. But the body takes a while to adjust to these things, and you might find lightheaded and all sorts of stuff for a while. Just your blood pressure's gone a bit skewiff. So I would say if you're going to go any form of extreme OMAD, or just pure fasting, take some time off from work. If you're on holiday, if you say you're on holiday for 2 weeks, you could try a dry fast. You could try or something like that. Just try that for a day. See if you can actually do that. Most people can't. Not straight off the bat. Or you could try a water fast. But you'll find water fast can become a bit harder sometimes because they're almost your brain's addiction to chemicals is that if you have a lot of carbohydrates in fluids, when you start drinking water, your brain's expecting there to be carbohydrates in them fluids, and if there isn't, then it would have that initial reaction, and then it'd be like, oh, they're not there, and then backwards forward. See, it's a bit like that. The trick is if I have tea, because usually I put other things in tea. Usually I just have milk in it, to be honest. But if I have black tea, my body primes up a bit for it. I can notice it it does help me with the fat burning a bit for some reason. Initially, I think my body thinks there's going to be more in it, and there isn't. So there. Right, okay, this is Peter signing off, and speak to you soon.